his own, that fact.
Yeah, that's what it's his own.
It's on.
It's on, yeah.
Definitely there.
I thought you were a short skin before. Not your style, huh?
Not my style.
That was like a more like informal.
Yes, that's what I mean, how we start the thing. Like in Saudi Arabia, in public.
Yeah, either from America or London or from London. You got problems. Yeah. That's why man literally just gotta take something out or run into the shop quickly in his household.
Just need to get a memory card, 1 second.
So they put it right outside. So they can't work. Tomorrow they start at 5 in the morning. On the side, they said they had to pull these blocks so they not to work.
Today?
Yeah, tomorrow they start leaving at 5 in the morning and let them go at 2 o'clock or 1:30.
Really? Double school.
Sent numerous emails saying, make sure your kids are hydrated, they got sun cream, they got this, they got that.
Early. Some of them is early.
Today?
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Because the weather.
You can go.
We're on? الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى اله واصحابه ومن سار على سبيله الى يوم الدين اما بعد. So today inshallah we'll continue discussing the book Mulakhas al-Fiqhyy by Shaykh Saleh Fawzan ta'ala. And in the last lesson that we have completed concerning the ahkam that relates to ibadat. So it's ahkam that relates to ibadat, more so regarding as-salat and the related topics regarding salat, also al-hajj, al-zakat, al-siyam, and lastly we ended concerning ahkam al-hajj wal-umrah. So today inshallah ta'ala we will continue discussing concerning what he mentioned concerning concerning of some of the matters that relates to al-jihad. Aywa, tafaddal.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. قال المؤلف حفظه الله. Chapter 1, page number 471. Jihad, fighting in the cause of Allah. Allah has ordained jihad, fighting in the cause of Allah, in order to render His word the highest, His religion victorious, His enemies defeated, and tested the true faith of His true servants. Allah exalted be, He says, that is the command, and if Allah had willed, He could have taken vengeance upon them Himself, but He ordered an armed struggle to test some of you by means waste their deeds. He will guide them and amend their condition, and admit them to paradise which He has made known to them. Surah Muhammad, ayat number 4 and ayat number 6. In Islam, jihad enjoys a great importance, as it is the highest level in religion and one of the best acts of worship, to the extent as some of the scholars consider jihad is the 6th pillar of Islam. Jihad is ordained according to the Quran, the Sunnah, and the consensus. Allah exalted be, He says, fighting has been enjoined upon you. Surah Baqarah, ayat number 216. The Prophet ﷺ also fought in the cause of Allah and used to enjoin jihad. He ﷺ said, whoever dies without fighting in the cause of Allah, nor does he express any desire or determination for it, would die with the characteristic of hypocrisy.
Regarding concerning Allah, that he started concerning kitab al-jihad, and he mentioned that fi ahkam al-jihad fi sabilillah. So he's discussing concerning some of those ahkam that relates to jihad, some of the ahkam that relates to jihad fi sabilillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all those things he mentioned regarding concerning that the status of jihad and in Islam, that is one of the ahkam of Islam, and that jihad that is fought according to God and the circumstances, not something concerning jihad that the Muslim have to be continuously fighting. So the situation that jihad is permissible as the circumstance that might arise. Now we'll discuss some of those circumstances. Then also he mentioned regarding concern that how jihad is viewed by the ulama. So the status of jihad regarding concern that even some of the ulama that they take it or see it as one of the six arkan of Islam, even though there's no authentic hadith stating that jihad is the sixth pillar of Islam. So no doubt but because of its status and how it is taken because of its importance. Then I mentioned regarding concern that jihad, also the thing is that to be understood that jihad is something which is mashru', it's something which is permissible in Islam or legislated in Islam, and this legislation comes by way of the book, the Quran, and also the Sunnah as-Sahihah, and you find authentic hadith and also ijma'. So you find the main source of Islam. I've given show the latest that jihad is something that is legislated in Islam. Then he mentioned certain texts to prove the permissibility of jihad. Of the things that ulama mentioned regarding the word jihad, fi sabilillah is used. The asl, the origin of this when it is used, the asl is that what is intended concerning al-qital. So the word jihad fi sabilillah, as we'll discuss, the word jihad can have various meanings. But when it is used in the way of Quran, the Sunnah, it is used by way of the main understanding is that concerning the person fighting the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kuffar, as to be discussed. As mentioned by Ibn Athir in his book Al-Gharib, that mentioned yutlaq ala kitab al-kuffar fil asl. So in the asl, when jihad fi sabilillah is mentioned, is regarding fighting, combating the kuffar. Then he mentioned concerning the hadith that is stated here regarding concerning the start of the jihad, the hadith in the Sahih Muslim. So I mentioned man mata wa lam yabzu wa lam yuhaddith bihi nafsu. So I mentioned the hadith that is mentioned that states concerning meaning, which state concerning that a person who dies and did not participate in jihad or never participate in jihad, nor he can somewhat add the intention regarding al-jihad or the will to fight jihad, al-hadith. They mentioned regarding concerning that Ibn Athir rahimahullah in his book Jami' al-Usul, when he mentioned this hadith, he mentioned Qala ibn Mubarak. So he mentioned that Ibn Mubarak, Abdullah ibn Mubarak rahimahullah, Tabarak Ta'ala mentioned فَنَرَى أَنَّ ذَلِكَ كَانَ عَلَى أَهْلِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ al-Islam. That regarding concerning this hadith that was mentioned, that a person who have died and did not participate in fighting and also doesn't per se have the intent or the will to fight. He mentioned that according to Ibn Mubarak, that hadith is more regarding that hadith is in the context of during the time of the Prophet Islam. That was the view of Ibn Mubarak. So he kind of someone thought that that is more specific to the time of the Prophet Islam regarding how to put that hadith in context. But then, as we mentioned, that the hadith is mentioned by Imam Muslim rahimahullah. So of those, An-Nawawi rahimahullah, that he commented on the statement of Ibn Mubarak. So An-Nawawi, that he commented on the statement of Ibn Mubarak by statement from قال النووي رحمه الله هذا الذي قاله يعني Ibn Mubarak. What has been stated by Ibn Mubarak, يحتمل, it has possibilities. So it's not as straightforward, or it has other views that can be taken from it. So they mention فقد قال غيره, that they mention that others of the ulama have stated regarding this hadith أنه عام, that this hadith is a general. So it applies in a time of the Prophet Islam and also after إلى يوم القيامة. So the hadith is general. So it applies across the board and not specific to a particular time period. Then I mentioned al-murad, and what is intended, أن من فعل هذا فقد أشبه المنافقين. That the person somewhat who fall into this are those people who there resemble more so the munafiqeen. Now, stuff concerning mutakhallifin and jihad fi sabilillah, those who does not participate in jihad. Aywa.
Linguistically, jihad means fighting the enemy vigorously and spiritedly. It involves fighting disbelievers, and it also includes much more activities showing striving in the cause of Allah.
So he mentioned regarding concerning jihad, so that he mentioned one concerning Muslim regarding concerning al-lughawi. So the meaning linguistically of jihad, he clarified concerning al-jihad, meaning linguistically, and then also he discussed the meaning shar'an. So what is intended by jihad according to Islamic legislation. So when this jihad is being discussed in the books of fiqh and the books of hadith, is in the and by way of the meaning shar'an, the sharia meaning, not the linguistic meaning, unless there's something to say otherwise. So I mentioned concerning al-jihad, with the different definitions that are given. The more simplistic and straightforward way of defining jihad, I mentioned, qital al-kuffar. It's fighting the kuffar. So that's concerning al-jihad, qital al-kuffar. So it is fighting the kuffar. That's the meaning of al-jihad. Then I mentioned, yutlaq al-jihad al-aham min al-qital. But also jihad is used at times that have a more general meaning that also consists of fighting the enemies and also other things that he mentioned concerning of the meanings of the type or the different use of context in the way the word jihad also can be used. Anyone?
Striving in the cause of Allah, not only mere fighting. Ibn al-Qayyim said, jihad is a task which is to be fulfilled by means of heart, tongue, money, or hand. Every Muslim must strive in the cause of Allah through any of these means. Jihad, in addition, includes striving for the purification of the soul through self-control, striving against shaitan, and against absolute, disobedient, and stray people.
Hey, so the author on Shaykh Hafidullah, he mentioned concerning the aqwal of Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah when he book Zad al-Ma'ad. So Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah in his book Zad al-Ma'ad, that he can somewhat in clarifying, discussing concerning matter of jihad, and also can somewhat discuss concerning what I refer to as aqsam of jihad, the different categories of jihad. So of those jihad that so you'll mention different categories of jihad, and you'll outline, you'll mention yutlaq al-jihad, that word jihad, going back to his meaning linguistically. Nam, al-mujahada, al-nafs, where a person somewhat have to struggle with oneself. Shaitan, munafiq. So he mentioned 5 meanings that the word jihad is used. The word jihad is used regarding in 5 matters. A1.
So self-restraint is a sort of jihad that the Muslim can achieve through seeking religious knowledge, acting in accordance with the knowledge he learns, and then teaching such knowledge to others.
So the first one I mentioned, mujahid al-nafs, which is al-jihad al-nafs. So regarding concern that the jihad al-nafs, where a person, someone is struggling with oneself, to make oneself disciplined. So of those things, kind of someone to make a person disciplined, that I mentioned of those ways to go about achieving this, he mentioned, ta'addul umur al-deen, of those things, the person having knowledge of the deen. And that is the key to all goodness. So the person having proper understanding, knowledge of Islam, then kind of somewhat the person is able to put everything in the proper context. So that's the first step in seeking knowledge of Islam. ثُمَّ عَلَامَ بِهَا, then the person then, the thing that one have learned, then the person now act upon those things. Then he mentioned ثُمَّ تَعْلِيمَهَا, and also the third is the person then now teaching others. So the person first learning, acting upon those things, then also now communicating, passing that information to others by teaching of others. And then some of the ulama, they add a 4th thing, which is as-sabr alayha. Then the person also to be patient in the things that you have learned, applying. So having patience regarding all those things briefly mentioned. So the person must have patience. If the person doesn't have patience, then a person also can create other problems because of lack of patience. The person becomes impatient and can destroy everything the person have put forth. That's concerning jihad and nafs. They mentioned concerning jihad and nafs is the asl of jihad. It's the main essence of jihad. But we have concerning the asl of the essence of jihad in the sense of the person, if they haven't per se have that discipline of themselves, they are unable to fight the enemies. The person does not have discipline within themselves, then the person is unable to fight the enemies. So that's the sense of the asl of jihad, and that comes before jihad al-kuffar. Anyone?
One can strive against Satan as another type of jihad, through keeping away from the doubtful matters portrayed by Satan and resisting satanic wicked desires.
So concerning al-jihad al-shaitan, al-mujahid al-shaitan, it can somewhat fall into 2 areas. Regarding al-shubahat, so a person able can somewhat to combat and to protect himself from the shubahat. So shubahat regarding concerning misunderstanding of the religion. Person having doubt regarding Islam. So that's concerning shubahat. So the person have a misunderstanding, or a person have taken on understanding which is inappropriate to Islam, or a person expose themselves to things that they are unable to find solution for regarding Islam. So not taking on things that are doubtful or things that a person may find difficult to find an explanation. And then he mentioned concerning that and the shubahat, to remove them, either person have a sources regarding books that he can refer back to clarify things, or individual that he can refer back to clarify things. Now, so that we have to remove shubahat by going back to the books of the ulama that are known and credible and sound, or the person go back to individuals who have ilm, but it is sound, to remove these doubts. Then I mentioned the second, which is shahawat. Shahawat, as the person's desire, vain desire. So shaitan use the tricks where he can somewhat allure the person to those things of his vain desire, thing which is haram and ma'asi. So that's concerning that mujahada al-shaitan regarding shubahat, not bringing on misunderstanding and doubts regarding Islam, and also shahawat by way of desires. Aywa.
As for striving against the disbelievers, it can be done by means of hand, fighting, money, tongue, and heart. A Muslim must also strive against the defiantly dissolute and stray people as much as he can, forbidding their wrongdoing either by his hands first, then his tongue if he cannot, and finally with his heart if the other means is possible. It depends.
So that's concerning that he covered also, and he covered concerning that aqsam al-jihad, which is first concerning jihad al-nafs or mujahad al-nafs, which is oneself. Mujahad al-shaitan is the second. Mujahad al-kuffar, which is the purpose of this, the discussion of this this chapter is more related to this third one, which is mujahad al-kuffar, which is the person now facing the enemies of Islam. And that is done, he mentioned, bil-yad, the person at times may use his hands, which is qital, bil-mal, use of one's wealth, bil-lisan, the person's tongue, and also al-qalb, and the person's heart. So the person use these as the way to kind of somewhat to go against the enemies of Islam. Then he mentioned al-mujahid al-fusaq, which concern the people of fisk, which are people concerned the people involved in an evil practice. So people who wish to, and those evil ones, al-fusaq, worse are those amongst the Muslim. So those who come to the land of the Muslim, within the Muslim, who try to bring evil practice. And as we see that in certain places, that we see that in the past couple of years, that we see individuals that they're trying to take those country back by way of introducing them. It was there, but not to this extent, not in an open fashion. Now, so of those people who fusaq, that amongst the Muslim who wants to create fasad because of their that they're somewhat been tricked by the shaitan and also the kuffar. So they want to bring those evil practices to the land of the Muslim, for Allah musta'an. So at times those people have to be condemned and their thing has to be clarified by those who are able. Then he mentioned that there was a part of inkar al-munkar. So that part, that falls as a part of inkar al-munkar, even though those people doing it are the Muslim. Then, so he mentioned four, which some of the ulama mentioned normally five, of concerning that aqsam al-jihad, that they normally mention concerning five. The other one that is missing or could be added is regarding al-mujahidat al-munafiqun. Mujahidat al-munafiqun. So those people are munafiqun, that those people who can somewhat, they claim Islam, or those people are the munafiq, the hypocrites amongst the Muslims, who are also being mindful of them and also going against them. They mentioned regarding concerning that aywa, that's concerning aqsam al-jihad, aqsam al-jihad, that is mentioned here, which is khamsa. Tafaddal.
The jihad, in fact, is an elective duty which, if sufficiently fulfilled by some Muslims, the rest will not be accountable for it as an obligation, and it becomes an act of the sunnah for them. Jihad is the best voluntary act of worship which has great virtues and rewards. There are so many verses in the Noble Quran as well as many hadiths enjoining jihad and urging all Muslims to undertake it. Allah exalted, He says, "Indeed, Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their properties in exchange for that they will have paradise. They fight in the cause of Allah, so they kill and are killed. It is a true promise binding upon him in the Torah and the Gospel and the Quran. And who is truer in his confidence than Allah? So rejoice with the transaction which you have contracted, and it is that which is a great attainment." Surah At-Tawbah, ayat number 111.
And the author, Hafidullah, he mentioned regarding concerning hukm al-jihad. So of those things that he just clarified is concerning those points regarding hukm al-jihad. So what's the hukm, the ruling on jihad, fi sabilillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They mentioned that al-jihad farq kifaya. Jihad farq kifaya. So that's the hukm that have been mentioned. فقال فإذا قام به من يكفي. And that's the meaning concerning what is said to be farq kifaya. So the meaning, the Islamic meaning or terminology of the term and farq kifaya means فإذا قام به من يكفي. That if it is fulfilled by those, that is sufficient. But it is in some cases establishing farq kifaya might include a group of people, not just one person. So is those people that is sufficient to full carry out that act. They mention سقط الوجوب and baqi. Then the obligation is removed from the rest. So regarding concerning jihad fi sabilillah, that he mentioned in general that the ruling is farq kifaya. And then he mentioned that also with this وَبَقِيَ فِي حَقِّهِمْ sunnah. Those that is not compulsory upon them, those who wish to participate in jihad but is not wajib upon them, then their participation is still acceptable to come, and it become a sunnah. It become for them a sunnah regarding al-jihad fi sabilillah. So regarding concerning jihad fi sabilillah, that of the ulama, that in clarifying this matter, that they mentioned concerning al-jihad qisman. Al-jihad fi sabilillah qisman. That jihad it falls into two categories. Or two types. Qism al-awwal, the first type of jihad, they refer to as jihad al-talab wal-ibtida. Jihad al-talab wal-ibtida. So jihad al-talab, where the Muslims are the ones who are instigating the jihad. They are the ones who are doing the attack. Or the one who are the ones who are initiating the jihad. So they are the ones who are taking it to others. So the Muslims are the ones who are taking it to others. So that concerning called jihad al-talab. Wal-ibtida, where the Muslims are the ones who are starting it. They are the ones who are initiating it. So it's called jihad al-talab. As for jihad al-talab, what is meant concerning now, which is the Muslims are the ones who are going in seeking of the enemies. The Muslims are the ones who are going out seeking of the enemies. With jihad al-talab, and also it will require concerning with jihad al-talab, which is first the Muslim will give a da'wah to them first. So with jihad al-talab, it requires that the Muslim have to first, the Muslim would invite them to Islam, or the Muslim also will, if not, so give them options. Islam, meaning that you accept Islam for what it is and become Muslim. If not, then you have jizya, then you pay jizya. Then if not jizya, then we come at you. So that's concerning jihad al-talab. So the structure, dawah, invitation, or jizya. And if those things are refused, then the Muslim go at them. That's concerning jihad al-talab. They mentioned regarding concerning the jihad al-talab that it is also fard ala majmum al-muslimin. Also regarding that, some of the Muslim carrying this out is fard kifaya. So it requires some of the Muslims to be active in this. And those Muslims who are involved concerning jihad al-talab, that they have to have permission from wali al-amr. So regarding jihad al-talab, the person that somewhat is overall in charge regarding this is the person who's the head of state. So this requires, so that's concerning jihad al-talab. So it's not left up to a particular masjid. They're going to somewhat lead on jihad al-talab. It's not for them. Or you have a particular jama'ah, a group of people we are from this particular Islamic party or organization. It's not for them jihad al-talab. Because we require the head of state. It requires the Muslim leader who is the head of the state, not a leader of a group.
So this society, what encompasses the head of state?
Nothing like it. Go back and say the Muslim, the head of state, that what we have today, ordinarily, a more suitable situation, we have one leader for every Muslim, for all the Muslim, and not these individual separate states. So, but when the states became independent, divided states, then each state have a leader, either reckon a leader for that state. Either reckon a leader for that state, not for everyone else. So that's not the situation from our side. It's a sign of less of a strength from our side because we are now smaller states. So that's less strength. We have one huge country. So that's the consequence of the smaller state division we have today. And that's why I find that in the situation today, you find no one initiating Jihad al-Talab. Because everyone, he doesn't know who's going to support him, type of thing. So that's the problem. You understand? That's I will mention certain things. So what's that general concerning that Jihad al-Talab? It requires for the people to move that they have to have permission from the head of state. They have to have permission from the head of state. And so that's the first type of jihad, Jihad al-Talab. So that is tahta wali al-amr. And when the ulama discuss that concerning tahta wali al-amr, the head of state, and the hukum concerning Jihad al-Talab, it is fard kifaya. Jihad al-Talab, fard kifaya. And that's the call of Jumhur of ulama. Jamahir al-ulama, it is fard kifaya. The view of the ulama of the past, of the Salaf, and also of the Khalaf. Those who came after the Salaf. إلى يومنا هذا. That it is Jihad al-Talab fard kifaya. And the likes of al-Qurtubi, who can somewhat emphasize this concerning that أنه fard kifaya, the likes of al-Qurtubi, and also others. Ibn Atiyah in his book in Tafsir, that's concerning Jihad al-Talab. And the adillah that Jihad al-Talab, it is something which is fard kifaya. So the Prophet in his seerah, that in the seerah, when he was in Medina and settled at a state, that at times he would initiate sending armies to others. And at times he didn't require everyone to be a part of it. So depending on the country or the state that they wish to attack, depending on the amount of men that was sent. And at times Imam al-Islam did not participate in some of those. We said that some of those army battalions, he himself al-Islam at times didn't participate. So as concerns they show that it is fard kifaya concerning Jihad al-Talab. So it's enough people that is needed to move on that country.
So, like an exposition.
Hey.
That's the right term, expedition.
Expedition. Hey, a war against that. Hey, so that's concerning Jihad al-Talab. As for Jihad, the second qism of Jihad, they refer to as Jihad al-Daf. Jihad al-Daf. What Jihad al-Daf concerns as-Sa'il, where concerned a Muslim now is defensive. So the other one is offensive. Yes, so one is more offensive, where you don't want to take it into the enemies. Now, as for Jihad al-Daf, where it is more of one where now you are more defensive. So you are defending yourself against an attacker. Now, so concerning Jihad al-Daf, where you are the one who is the defensive, the other one is offensive. Which is concerning al-Mu'tadi, we find that they came to you and bring the battle to you and attack in your country. So you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to defend yourself. So whichever country or region is being attacked by the enemies of Islam, the Muslim of that country, of that region, they are the first in line to defend themselves. So they are the ones who are first in line to defend themselves. So for them, it becomes, as I mentioned, concerning that one become fard al-ayn. Jihad al-Daf, for those who are first in line, that country, that region, to defend themselves, it becomes fard al-ayn upon them to defend themselves. Now, and I mentioned concerning that Muslims who are able bodies, men, and of sound mind and age, they have to participate. So for those people who are Muslim male, adults, sound mind, and they're capable, then they have to go for it. Now, so one is fard al-ayn. So every capable body is to go out from amongst the men regarding Jihad al-Daf, which is to protect their first concerning those two types of jihad. Now, those two forms of jihad. So the first one, Jihad is al-Talab, which is the offensive, and Jihad al-Daf, which is defensive jihad. Most of the situation of Muslims today is Jihad al-Daf, where they are the ones who are more so trying to defend their borders. Aywa?
The Khandaq, Ghazwa Khandaq. the one where Rasulullah, and when they went out, they basically they dug a hole here to prevent the fire accidentally crossing over. But it wasn't in Mecca or Medina. Which one Jihad will you call that one?
And as enough. Come to the other ones there, they are being attacked. That was just what I said. When concerning jihad, you have the different ways of how to defend yourself.
No.
You understand? So at that time, he was defend as a method of how to defend themselves and also how to. So that's not war strategy. That's more of the war strategy, which is all depends on the situation and circumstance and what's the best method and way to defend yourself. Aywa.
For a Muslim, there are certain cases in which jihad is an individual duty. Number one.
So you have no cases where it becomes no fardul ayn due to certain situation and circumstance. Now, where Aywa mentioned those situations becomes fardul ayn.
Number one, when a Muslim is present at the battlefield, it is obligatory for him to fight and prohibited to leave the battle and flee.
Hey, so of those cases regarding concerning whether it is jihad the death or jihad the talab, the fact that you're on the battlefield, you're facing the enemies, is coming, then it's not for you to run away. Except in certain cases. So you have some, so the general rule is that you are not to run away. And the person that the punishment considered that in most army today that considered to be treason, an act of treason. Now even from the non-Muslims, so it's an act of treason, and I'll go back to the people that commanded it could lead to death. So it could lead to death. So it depends on the commander as to how they think is the most suitable, but it could lead to the person's death. And so that's how they say an act of treason. So you might have certain situation, all of I mentioned, that for example the enemy is there, but you have been there, but there's a need for you to be at a different position. So some may have to leave. So not that they are running away, is because of they have to be in a different place due to certain situations. So as a general thing, it's not to be done, but in certain cases it can be done for a valid reason.
Or if the commander says retreat.
And a commander might say a battle strategy for you to retreat. So that goes back to where you're still complying with the commander. And not just out of, because in this, with a person leave the cell, is a sign of cowardice. The fact the person being a cowardice. Aywa. And as Imam Bukhari, the hadith of Bukhari Muslim says, of the person run away from the back with the side of munafiq or mubiqat. So what the mubiqat. And what's that? Mubiqat. Aywa.
When enemies attack a Muslim country, in the aforesaid two cases, a Muslim fights back his enemies as a means of self-defense only, not a conquest. If Muslims abstain from fighting in these two cases, the disbelievers will take their land, defiling their sanctities.
Hey, so that's concerned those two concerns in either hadar al-baladu adu. So also that the enemies have attacked you. Then also that will be jihad al-daf. So jihad al-daf where now you have to now defend your land, because in that case said fard ayn. Now I will mention a condition of those people who the criteria for the person who are allowed to participate in al-jihad. So not every single person, man, woman, children, babies, that's not the case. That's not the case regarding jihad. It's not about blood as to be discussed. Aywa.
Number three, when a Muslim is needed to help his fellow Muslims fight their enemies. Number four, when a Muslim is called by the ruler.
So the third concern is not يحتاج إليه المسلمون في كتاب ومدافعة. So also the Muslim may be in need, so that country may be attacked, but they do not have enough men to defend themselves. So the Muslims, other Muslims to assist them. So in that case, that there's a need, so other Muslims need to. The nearest to them are the ones who are first in line. The ones who are nearest to them, then you become next in line. As if they are conquered, then it's going to be you next in line. So next in line become the people now to defend. So become, because there's a need, then you have to go forward. You have to go forward. Or you might find a case where that a person becomes wajib even though you're not from the front line, but you're elsewhere, but because that person might have a certain special skill, or you know to operate certain things, you understand? So you need a specialist, and you have those people who have that specialist skill. then you have to go for become no, you are in need because you have certain specialist skills, then you have to go forward. And then it becomes, because of that need becomes compulsory upon you because you have a specialist skill. Anyone?
When a Muslim is called by the ruler or the one in authority to fight in the cause of Allah, for the Prophet ﷺ said, whenever you are called to fight in the cause of Allah, you should go immediately.
So if the Imam tell the people that tell certain people that you should go, then you should go. But no, it's command, direct command from the head of state. Concern the Imam, concern the head of state. The Imam being concerned the head of state. In today's time, the first in line will be those people at the army. So they have army, they will be the first in line. If they need others, then they're going to somewhat, as they said that then they will start then to ask others to come forward. So in those four circumstances that if they occur, they become fard al-ayn. Becomes fard al-ayn. As you can see in most of those cases regarding defense. Regarding al-jihad, al-daf, with the person defending of oneself, or the person actually there in the battlefield, so you cannot per se retreat or run away.
Also, Allah exalted, He says, when you encounter a company from the enemy forces, stand firm. Surah Al-Anfal, ayat number 45. Moreover, Allah says, what is the matter with you, that when you are told to go forth in the cause of Allah, you adhere heavily to the earth? Surah At-Tawbah, ayat number 38. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, said, Jihad can either be by the hand or the heart, or by calling Muslims to jihad through sound argument, eloquence, demonstration, or by helping to prepare others for fighting. It is obligatory for a Muslim to strive in the cause of Allah as much as he can. On the other hand, if a Muslim is unable to join his fellows in the battlefield for a legal excuse, he has then been at home to support and take care of the families and properties of the Muslim fighters.
So that's also my person individual say stuff that apart concerning al-jihad can be carried out at time of a person's hand, at time of a person's heart, with dawah, with hujjah, with bayan, with tadbir, with sina'. So all those things is a part of jihad, because jihad, especially in today's time, I need people that who have certain specialized skills, you need certain type of weapons. So all of those things are part of jihad. And also a person is trained for jihad or trained for fighting, so it requires various things that a person that the Muslim Muslim country have to take into consideration regarding al-jihad. What about way of defense or by way of other than that? Anyone?
It is obligatory for the Muslim ruler or the one in authority to check the army before setting out for fighting to exclude whatever does not fit the battlefield, be it related to men or equipment. For example, the ruler or the one in authority has to exclude whoever discourages Muslims to fight, disheartening and dispiriting them. He should also exclude those fearful and faint-hearted men who might dissuade the other fighters, and those who report the news of the Muslim army to the enemies or cause dissension amongst the Muslim fighters. The Muslim ruler should also appoint a commander who can lead the army in accordance with the Islamic principles and policies.
So that's all those things that concern the army. I've said I mentioned the Imam. So the Imam, the leader, head of state today, that per se they have a person who's responsible for the defense ministry. And on the defense ministry, you have all the generals and commanders. So he himself that doesn't need the Imam himself to go out and check the army, as you have the system now. You find concerned that others who can somewhat fulfill a responsibility to make sure that the weapons are there. They have sufficient and suitable weapons, and those weapons today come from sea, land, and air. Now concerning weapon, you can say sea, land, air. Also, things that can spy equipment. All of these things are a part of, we said now, modern day battles. So the Imam in most cases concerned that in the head of state, they have nothing to do with fighting type of thing, but they have people who they are the generals. They are the ones who actually lead on those things. He just gives the okay to fight, and they can somewhat lead from there. In time of Islam, before we find out the commander himself, the head of state, he also would be of those involved. The Prophet of Islam was also the head of state, and also Islam, the Prophet of Islam, that at times he would be directly involved in jihad. So that was then Umar and the likes, that they were directly involved in battles type of thing. So things have somewhat changed today. Anyway, also before that concerned the matter they mentioned regarding that with jihad, that regarding concerned mention regarding of certain criteria of those things regarding who are those people that I said that mentioned concerning that man yajib alayhi jihad. Who are those people that must participate in jihad? What are the criteria? Ashurut jihad or man yujahid. So the mujahid of the criteria the person should be for the mujahid, that one zakah must be a male, dhukura. So jihad of the condition for jihad for the person, the warrior and the mujahid, that he should be a male. As a female, it is not laysa alayhim al-jihad. So it is not wajib upon them to be in the front line. So it's more so upon male, not female, regarding jihad. Second, they mentioned hurriya. That's clear, the person being a free person. Third, Muslim. So regarding mujahid, he must be a Muslim. As for kuffar, la. And for them to participate, the Muslim also, they should be. As the Prophet ﷺ concerning irja, فَلَمْ نَسْتَعِينْ بِمُشْرِكٍ. That is to a person who the kuffar, return back, don't fight with us, as we do not need the assistance of a mushrik in jihad. So the general thing that the person, the mujahid, he has to be Muslim. And as jihad is considered an act of ibadah. Also, fourth, after that, mukallif. The person also be of one who's of age and also of sound mind. So the person is below the age of puberty, is not upon him to fight jihad. And the fans of the Sahaba, they came and the Prophet sent them back because they were too young, but they wanted to fight. But they were sent back because of their age. So in Islam, that also that we have considered another is that child soldiers. Islam doesn't condone or allow child soldiers. Islam does not condone this. As we mentioned, for a person to participate, he has to be an adult or above the age of consent, puberty. So that's of those things. After the person may be of certain type of unable. And also mentioned that the person is aqil, sound mind. So a person also to be of sound mind for them to be of those that can participate in jihad. Also they mentioned al-istita'a. So the fifth condition, al-istita'a, the person of the capability. That individual also, al-mujahid, that capability in the sense of one that is not having a form of, doesn't have any physical disability that make him unable to fight properly. So that of those things, so should be generally of sound limbs and capability, not too weak type of thing that may be very ill. So it's not of those people to be fighting. Also, it's the time also that a person also jihad before, that a person had to, in some time, they have to find his own weapons. So before, at time, the person will find his own weapon. So the person, or yes, if he cannot even a weapon, but he has to be able to also consider that, okay, if he has to go, can he have sufficient funds for him to have weapons if he needs to get weapon for himself, and also second, have sufficient funds to live with his family. So also the person have to have sufficient funds where he's able to can leave behind his family and their relative that it can be maintained financially. So when the person has leave and his family they are left with nothing, that's not the mujahid. And that's not the mujahid. So all those are the main conditions, so 5 conditions that we mentioned: dhukuriya, Muslim, hurriya, mukallif, and also istita'a. Those are the main conditions regarding al-mujahid. So the person doesn't fit those criteria, it's not wajib upon the person that he has to go. It's not wajib upon the person unless there's other factors that we mentioned becomes for kifaya. But those are the main ones that he has to still comply with. The main one that he has to still comply with. Anyone?
It is obligatory for the Muslim army to obey the commander in what is right, to give him sincere advice and to be patient with him, for Allah exalted he says, And you who have believed, obey Allah and obey the Messenger, and obey those in authority among you. Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 59. Jihad has to be ordained in Islam for some noble objectives. Number 1, to rid people of the worship of taghuts, false objects of worship and idols, and to lead them to worship Allah alone, associating no partner with Him, for He is the one who has created them and gives them provisions. Allah exalted, He says, and fight them until there is no fitna and until the religion, i.e. worship of it, is for Allah. Surah Al-Anfal, ayat number 39.
So of the objectives of jihad, so jihad has certain objectives. Now, so there's certain objectives regarding fighting of jihad. Now, so of those things regarding concern that no, that people of sincerity regarding the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning under that, so regarding concern of removing of people worshipping of idol worship, falling into or carrying on idol worship. Now, so of those things regarding of jihad is to remove concerning the worship of man towards man. Now, and to bring back man to worship of their Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they mention the ayah, وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ fitna. So the word fitna in this ayah mean a shirk. So the word fitna, now in this, so the word fitna, something like to be looked concerning that in each context, to be used in its right context when it is used. So in this context, the word fitna, حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ fitna meaning which? A shirk. And then if you go back to the tafsir, books of tafsir of them, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, that they mention, and Ibn Abbas, that the word fitna, and la yakuna shirk, that they mention that, to remove that there is no more shirk that is there. And that's the view of the quotes that Ibn Abbas, Abu Aliyah, Mujahid, Hassan, Qatada, Rabi' ibn Anas, As-Suddi, Muqatil ibn Hayyan, and also Zayd ibn Aslam. So Jama'ir of ulama, all concerning that, al-fitna in this context, is shirk, removal of shirk. قاتلوهم حتى لا تكون فتنة. So we fight them, so fight them until it remove of shirk. Aywa.
To eliminate injustice and give rights to the rightful owners. For Allah, exalted He says, permission to fight has been given to those who are being fought, because they were wrong, and indeed Allah is competent to give them victory. They are those who have been evicted from their homes without right, only because they say Allah is our Lord. Surah Hajj, ayat number 39 to 40.
Anyway, so again, concern of the thing concerning the Shara al-Jihad is al-Zulm. That is to remove concerning people being oppressed by others and to establish concerning justice. Now, so it shows concerning Muslims themselves have to be an example. Now, so regarding concern that for the Muslim also have to be an example regarding within our system, regarding within our borders, that we ourselves that we are an example of others regarding establishing justice and fairness from top to bottom. So regarding concern the means of our law system or judicial system is according to the Sharia, not man-made laws. So regarding concern that al-Jihad is al-Zulm, that also for the Muslim, for them to be an example that within the Muslim country that justice is established. And that the Muslims that they are also ruling by the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because to establish justice, then you only can do so by a Sharia. Now, that's concerning those matters. Before we go to the next matter, the third.
To humiliate the disbelievers, take revenge on them and weaken their power. For Allah exalted He says, fight them, Allah will punish them by your hands, and will disgrace them and give you victory over them, and satisfy the breast, i.e. desires, of a believing people, and remove the fury in their, i.e. the believers' hearts. And Allah turns in forgiveness to whom He wills, and Allah is knowing and wise. Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 14 to 15.
Anyway, so again, the concern of the reason behind jihad concerning that is al-Kuffar also somewhat to remove concerning the strength and arrogance from the Kuffar. So establish concerning to show so that's of those things that relates to of the reason and objective of al-Jihad. Anyone?
Fighting the enemies must be preceded by calling them to Islam. The Prophet ﷺ used to call the enemies to Islam if they did not know about it before fighting them. He ﷺ also sent messages to kings calling them to Islam, and used to advise the commanders of the Muslim army to call the disbelievers to Islam before fighting them, and not to fight whomever would accept Islam. This is because the main objective of fighting in Islam is to eliminate disbelief and polytheism, and to help people enter the religion of Allah. Thus, if this noble objective is fulfilled without fighting, Muslims are not allowed to fight others, and Allah knows best. Jihad has so many rulings mentioned in detail in volumes of Sharia Islamic law, among which are the following.
So you mentioned regarding the last, the fourth point that you mentioned regarding of the maqasid, of the reason and the purpose behind al-jihad, that and the ghaya of jihad, that of those in the jihad seek to attain is regarding that before fighting concerns that qital and qital ad-daf, or in this case they mentioned the fourth one regarding jihad at-talab, where the Muslims are the ones who are going on the ones who are the one on the offensive, that in those cases concern the Muslim that before they attack others, and that first they're going to somewhat try to invite those people to Islam or bring to them Islam, and if not, then mention that al-jizya, so for the head of state also to use those methods first regarding concerning taking Islam to the people there in that place, to that region, or if not, then al-jizya if they are from al-kitab, and then you make the decision after them. So that's concerning those matters. Also that's in the case concerning al-jihad, al-talab wal-ibtida. Now in those cases, the Muslims are the one who's taking the battle to them. Then they should follow those guidelines. Then regarding concerning that al-jihad that he mentioned, the jihad ahkamun mufassil mawjudatun fi kutub al-mutawwalat or mutawwala. That concerns us know that jihad. So he just mentioned something which is brief. So what is being mentioned here is things that are brief regarding some of the ahkam of jihad. Now, so regarding concerning also those matters regarding the jihad that have been mentioned by the ulama rahimahullah, that of those things for one to understand regarding jihad, that I mentioned that with jihad, you have ahwal al-Muslimin, so the Muslim also to look to their situation and circumstance. So for the Muslim to review and to look into our circumstance, and of those certain and of those things to look into, that the Muslim to look into regarding that, they mentioned that you might find the ahwal of the Muslim that it is three types. So the ahwal, when they just arrived in Medina, people took it to them, and when they started to have strength, then they took it to others. So regarding al-jihad, that for the Muslim, that to see what's our real state and our fears. Do we have strength? So the Muslim of quwwah, then they can go forth regarding jihad at-talab. That's if they have strength. Now, and not we have strength which is one which is just just be thinking, but it's not real. Now, so be realistic regarding if you have strength, you understand, compared to others regarding how you're able to match with others. Like today, most of the Muslims don't have that level of strength. Now, as individual countries. So regarding al-quwwah, to be considered, so if they have quwwah, they can go forth regarding jihad. The second hala of the Muslim, that ad-da'f al-shadid, that the Muslim have weakness, clear weakness. Now, so you might find the Muslim have weakness where somewhat the kuffar, they can play games with us. Now, because of our weakness, they know we don't have the strength to defend ourselves, and we have seen how this have played out in our time. Because of the weakness, they can somewhat show that level of weakness that the Muslim can be unable to defend themselves properly. Even concerning jihad and death, we're still even able to do that properly. Now, regarding the offensive, defensive, even that we are able to do properly. Now, so in that case, the Muslims can somewhat measure our case regarding that of Mecca. That at that time to defend, even to fight back, it may not be done, is to work out, is it even appropriate? Because we may not have any ability even to defend. And as we have seen in a couple of the past in some of the Muslim countries. So as concerning, we said, hal al-daf shadid. Then the third scenario, so they mentioned those cases the Muslim should not per se be more patient and not be hasty in trying to attack others or even to defend yourself. Just basically say in our language, play cool. Now, those play things, cool and very cautious. And that's the situation in many places today. Then the third hala is hal concerning al-wusta. The third is regarding al-wusta. You have some strength, but you're not the strongest, nor you're the weakest. You're in between. You have some defense. Now, you're building up your defense type of thing. So for the Muslim, that in those cases gonna somewhat to in that hard way of something that if to more so try to defend yourself, not per se to take it to others. So you have like you're semi in between, you're moderate, not to be quick to attack others, but we know that if anyone comes, let them know that I can defend myself. Let them know you can defend themselves. So you have a Muslim country, you understand, that they see it appropriate, they should have what they call nuclear weapon. Because if you have this, then you have you can talk. And people have to be mindful.
Maybe Iran.
Huh?
Iran.
Yeah, but I'm saying that some places might, the country of the world today might see that some of the more developed country concerning that war matters, weapons, that the best weapon is a nuclear weapon. You understand? So some countries, you understand, but because of how the world is, that some people, they give you a blind eye to have it, and other people, they're very skeptical of you having it. Now, so that's the thing, but for the Muslim to try to, but to say, no, but that nuclear weapon really the one that talks today. Now, it's the one that really talks. But for the Muslim, can somewhat to, you understand, to see themselves in, as Muslim, as a ummah, where do we set in those three categories? Huwa, ضعف, شديد, or يعني عندنا يعني شيء من القوة, but not to the peak, not to the ice. أيوة.
If a Muslim's parent or one of them are free Muslims, a Muslim is not permitted to volunteer to fight in the cause of Allah unless they permit him to.
Hey, okay. Inshallah, we stop there, inshallah. We stop at that point and we'll continue next week. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه إلى السبيل. And so that, because of the weather situation, that, inshallah, we'll see how things continue. Okay, inshallah. But, okay then, so we continue, inshallah, next week, unless there's anything that may come up. But, we'll end for today and continue. وبالله تعالى توفيق. Because the Shaykh also, the Shaykh mentioned concerning في أحكام الجهاد, like, أحكام مفصلة, and also كتب مطولة. So also you have books also that goes in detail regarding jihad. So this is a mukhtasar. Now, that it won't go into all details. It'll give you a general idea of jihad that is suitable for the general mass and for the talib al-ilm who just need some of the main points to have an idea what is jihad, and so protect yourself from jihad that are not proper and correct. Now, so you have books that are mutawwal, books that are more detailed. So you have some books that are written in jihad of ulama past and also are present. Of those ones that are somewhat detailed, you have some that are detailed in giving encouragement regarding jihad, but not detailed in the ahkam of jihad. But concerning that ahadith, gather ahadith or aqwal of the salaf regarding encouragement regarding jihad, you have those type of books. Now, you have, for example, Kitab al-Jihad, the Ibn al-Asim. So Ibn al-Asim, a book concerning jihad, but most of them are riwayat. Mention a hadith regarding the encouragement of jihad. Then you have books also that goes into detail regarding jihad. And after those books that are in detail, this is no, a more detailed book, a book that's called Injad fi Abwab al-Jihad. Injad fi Abwab al-Jihad. And that book is about in 2 volumes. And Shaykh Mashur Hassan, Ali Salman, Hafidullah Tabarak Ta'ala, have done the tahqiq of that book. So those are books that book is a book that for a talib al-ilm to have access to those books that go into detail. For a talib al-ilm to have books that goes into detail, so you can know the fine detail of them, and also other books, but the main thing that he referred to books that are known to be people of Salamat al-Mu'taqad and also al-Fiqh Islam. The person is known to have proper aqidah and also fiqh of Islam. With that, inshallah, we'll end. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذا السبيل والآخر الحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.